A man's first experience, yet his desire remains hot, confessing to his parents, "I want to marry Remedios." But when old Jose reluctantly visits, he finds Remedios hasn't even hit adulthood yet, leaving Jose and Ursula shocked. Moscow and his wife show understanding, agreeing to let them wed once Remedios comes of age, but only in a church. Moscow brought power, and now he's ready to sprinkle some holy confetti on Macondo. Old Jose felt deeply defeated, thinking Macondo was getting tied up, complaining to Megadus only to find him fossilizing. Megadus was so ancient, it seemed he had 1 foot in the grave. One day he mysteriously vanished, but when found, he was being feasted on by crows. Old Jose dragged him home, trying to resurrect him with alchemy, yet Megadus just got after failing to resurrect. Old Jose held a funeral, crafting Macondo's first tombstone record. This was Macondo's first death. After Megadus, old Jose seemed to retire, faith gone. People got wild. Strong as bulls 7 or 8 barely subdued him. Tied to the chestnut tree eventually. He idly lingered as family life moved on. Aureliano and Remedios actually tied the knot. Vivica and Pedro's wedding date was approaching, but just like back in the day, Pilar showed up again with a kid, another little member for the Just clan. This time Aureliano reluctantly accepted the child, naming him Little Aureliano. What creativity! Father-in-law Moscow generously accepted the kid too, but insisted on a church baptism. What a traditionalist. Theocracy quietly seeped into Macondo. Aureliana now had an illegitimate child, and Remedios found herself pregnant too. Libica and Pedro's wedding neared. Amaranth's jealousy soared. She actually whipped up poison, ready to take Libica out to talk about dedication to sabotaging this marriage. On the very day she planned her toxic attack, Remedios suddenly died, taking her 2 unborn kids with her. Talk about a shocking After the funeral, Aureliano, heartbroken and loveless, geared up for revolution. Ursula was equally heartbroken over Remedios' passing. But in these chaotic days, little Jose returned home after decades, stronger than ever, and fell head over heels for the unfamiliar Libica. He shared tales from his globe-trotting adventures, parting with ladies of the night in bars, and eventually decided to tie the knot with her one fateful evening. They moved into a little house across from the cemetery, defying family objections, determined to spend their lives there. The tides turned for Macondo as Moscow and his soldiers stormed the tavern, declaring elections were just around the corner. As conservative rep, he banned gatherings of victory during elections. What a joke! With no old Jose to balance things out, his power swelled like a hot air balloon. Meanwhile, the liberal resistance worked silently, as the illegitimate child Aureliano began running around Macondo, rallying for vote. The Conservative Party, in charge of counting votes, covertly manipulated the ballots, ensuring the winners were always them. They launched a massive hunt for liberal supporters, truly a madman's game. Aureliano witnessed all this, his anger boiling within. After seeing a woman's head crushed by thugs, he resolutely joined the liberals. He led the first uprising in Macondo, but the formidable soldiers were executed en masse one fateful night. Aureliano, with extraordinary insight, saw it as a lone battle and decided to venture afar to continue the revolution. He assigned Aureliano to oversee Macondo with great authority, yet unbeknownst to him, this power-craving Aureliano was about to star in a heart-wrenching tragicomedy. Aureliano, who had never known love, got hooked on the wild Pilar, just like his father passions ablaze. One day he called Pilar into his room, not realizing she was his own mother. What a shocking family moment. They agreed to meet again at night, but when night fell, it was a different woman who showed up instead of Pilar. Aureliano became a man for the very first time with this beautiful lady of the night. With Aureliano's help, he donned the guise of a general, mimicking Napoleon, but it was comically ridiculous. Lacking Jose's prestige and Aureliano's wisdom, he could only clumsily mimic others, shouting unrealistic slogans. He brutally suppressed the populace, but couldn't bear the weight of such a responsibility. When he aimed to shoot Moscow to defend his authority, Ursula swooped in and stopped him. His confidence came solely from Aureliano, but under Ursula's mighty presence, he instantly transformed back into that sad, illegitimate son. He awkwardly retreated, with his soldiers growing more stubborn and arrogant. Even when Aureliano sent peacemakers, he chose to ignore them. Ultimately, he brought disaster to Macondo. Conservatives cracked down, slaughtered villagers, and shelled. He had no clue how to lead troops into battle and merely focused on escaping. At the critical moment, he instinctively hid behind Ursula, craving the safety of family. Perhaps the student's end-off enlightened him, or Leona summoned courage for the first time, surrendering to protect his family. At Macondo cemetery, just before execution, he realized he deeply cherished all he had lost. He waved goodbye to Libica and little Jose, then died right before their eyes. Shortly after Orleano's death, he too was arrested, and Ursula came to see him one last time. The conservatives had prepared for his execution.